This is Thrivenomics, presented by Thrive Mortgage. Well, good afternoon. I'm James Duncan, host of Thrivenomics podcast, and we have a special episode today. My very good friend, Derick Zwerneman, is joining me. Derick is an Austin Firefighter. I've known Derick for a long time. We've known each other through church and through just being friends and close associates for a number of years now. The reason why I wanted to have Derick come on is because, you want to talk about a guy who has a passion for serving. That's this guy sitting next to me. That's Derick. He has a heart bigger than Austin, Texas, and knows he's got a very special knack for knowing how to coordinate, how to organize, and meet people's needs, no matter what those happen to be. I've seen you in action in a number of capacities, just through knowing you through our interaction at church and other organizations, and really impressed with what you're able to do. But enough about me talking about you. I'm gonna let you talk about yourself for just a minute. So tell us a little bit about kind of your background, what got you into kind of a brief summary of what got you into really fulfilling your destiny as somebody that is geared towards serving others.
Man, that's a big story, but
it's all true.
You know, it's funny to even hear you say that kind of stuff. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, I've always had the heart for people. Yep. And that's why I became a firefighter. Back in 1997, I went through the academy, and this is the 23rd year. It's hard to believe that I've been working with the Austin Fire Department for 23 years. But man, that started a great journey. You know, my dad was a firefighter as well. He was a battalion chief. We call him battalion chief. So he helped oversee an area of the city. And I think just watching that and seeing his heart for people and hearing the stories of how he helped people during his shift, it made me want to be a firefighter. Fast forward, now I'm 46 years old, and
young buck,
still got a lot of miles in this body, but God's been able to do a lot of things through different initiatives that I've been a part of, and it's been amazing to see. Right now, just to let you know, I wear many hats. Yep. So it's funny, I flipped over my name tag because I have the fire department on this side, I have Austin Disaster Relief Network on this side.
Right.
I act as the church development manager for the Austin Disaster Relief Network.
Okay.
And that started back, I've been with ADRN, we call it ADRN for short,
right.
For the last year. So started in 2019, January. And that really, the reason why I was even asked to be in that position is because of the relationship with the church, or the position that I held for 9 years with Celebration Church, which is our church.
Yep.
And,
hey, Pastor Joe.
Hey, Pastor Joe. But just love the heart of our pastors. I mean, Pastor Joe and Lori really, as we came in and became part of the church, I think you and I have both been there for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And just watching the church grow, and the reason for that growth being serving people, it helped me just develop into what I am today as far as the heart to serve.
Right.
And so, long story short, James, we could sit here and talk all day. You and I both know that.
Sure.
But I was, 1997 started with the fire department, and 2008, I had, if you know a firefighter, you know that most firefighters have a side gig,
they got
right?
a side hustle.
They do something. You got realtors, you've got mortgage guys that are actually firefighters. I know one of my good buddies, Joe, at Station 8. He is Joe Kralik. I don't know if you know him, but anyway, he's a mortgage guy.
Yeah,
and I think he might have actually retired from the fire department to move into that further. But my side hustle was construction. I did decks and patios, and started way back, nailing fences just to make an extra buck, and then ended up learning that I was pretty decent with talking to people and design. So ended up starting a business on my own. It turned out to be called Austin Outdoor Living.
Right.
And so Austin Outdoor Living still exists, but I was blessed enough to be able to give that away. It was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But in 2008, I was measuring a patio out in Westlake, fell off the deck, leaned on a rail, fell about 10 feet and shattered my talus bone in my right foot.
Yeah.
And that sent me on a whole nother path. I mean, I'm telling you, like, if you talk about a life that's just everywhere, my wife and I, we built a big house in downtown Round Rock. We have really nice cars. We had our first 2 kids. And, man, I literally was living a life of rising early, going to bed late. the Bible says, eating the bread of painful labors. And one time, my wife reminded me of that. She's like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, like, this is great, but I'd live in a trailer house,
right?
You know, just to have you home more. And so it was shortly after I fell off of that deck, broke my foot, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
And so from that point, as I started to heal, I started to serve more in the church. Got involved with men's groups, got involved with different serve opportunities the church was doing. And it was through that time that we actually had a storm here in Round Rock. April and I had just moved into a neighborhood called Round Rock West. We probably have some people that are viewing today that live in Round Rock West. Hey, neighbors.
Unlikely.
I am the neighbor that has not finished deciding yet, but Round Rock West was, close community. You know, people live in the neighborhood because they want to send their kids to the schools.
Right.
You know, you've got Chisholm Trail Middle School, you've got Deepwood Elementary, you've got Round Rock High School, all within half a mile of where we live.
Right.
And so we moved into that neighborhood, just praying for our neighbors and our coaches and our swim team parents and all that kind of stuff. We got principals and teachers that we had started building a relationship. And it's like, you know what? How do we even share the good stuff that we've learned about what God's doing in our lives with our neighborhood? And so little did we know things were about to change. Yeah. And in 2009, we had it was called Hurricane Hermine rolled through, and it spawned off some storms that really dumped some water on Round Rock, Georgetown. There was some flooding in Georgetown, but in our neighborhood particularly, we had a lot of rain, and there was a dam that got jammed up. Water rose, and about 30 houses were underwater. Mm-hmm. So being a part of the church and knowing a lot of people, I just started making phone calls. Hey, y'all want to come help? And we started helping neighbors. And it was through that effort. It was on a Sunday night. A couple of us actually showed up that night and helped neighbors just get stuff out of their house before the water got to their house. And then throughout that week, we just started helping people. It was really organic. And that's what I love about the story is that it just happened. You know, people just started helping people. And by the end of the week, we had about 150 people from the church that were out there helping people, other neighbors. And we had it was a really unique situation because Chief Tim Ryle was the assistant chief of Round Rock at the time. He soon became the chief of Round Rock, and now he's the deputy to Robert Chody of Williamson County. Okay. So really neat guy, but we met each other through this process, and I was kind of managing people, whether I realized it or not, me and a group of other folks from the church. And on that Saturday, he called me Friday and said, hey, we're going to do a community serve day. Y'all have really inspired us to come out and help these neighbors. And so he said, why don't you show up at 8:00? I'll get you to help me kind of get things set up, and we'll get your people to lead our, the rest of the community out and help set this up. Right. So I pulled up, and man, there was cars parked, I want to say a mile back. It felt like it because I'm like 7:49, and I'm going, man, I hope I make it up there. I'm running up there. I'm running up there, and I look up, and Chief is going, hey, Derick, up here. And the parking lot's full at Deepwood Elementary. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. Yeah. And so anyway, I go up there, and Chief does the introductions. He introduces the police chief and fire chief and the city waterworks and all these guys, and says how great of a job they've been doing to help this community. Sure. And then he gets to me and he goes, but I got to tell you, without the local church of Round Rock and this guy, Derick Zwerneman, I'm going, oh my gosh, what? I'm nothing. What? I'm nothing. Right. And I'm standing there, and he goes, I want to ask him to go ahead and lead us out, And I take the microphone that he gave me. Basically, it was one of those speakers coming out of the police car. He gives me the microphone, and something just came over me, and I just felt like this presence that I'd never felt before, and I realized what we'd been praying about. Yeah. And I looked out, and I see our swim team coach. I see our principal and the teachers, and I see all these neighbors that we'd been praying for. And it was blurry to me, but I took that microphone, and for the very first time, James, I said, hey, can we just pray? And I prayed in front of a crowd for the very first time. Right. And nice. that moment we sent out, 10 people from the churches, and they led community people out to these houses, and it was beautiful. Awesome. And so it made me see something that I'd never seen before. And from there, I was asked to be on staff at the church on my days off from the fire department. Right. That same within 2-week period, I get a call from a lady, her name's Noelle Regal. She had been in the deck business and outdoor living for years with me, taught me everything I knew back when we worked at an organization together. And she calls and she's crying and she's like, Derick, I don't know what to do. She said, my contract's up with this company and I feel like I should do my own. And I just don't know what to do. And I said, Noelle, you're not going to believe this, but
I got something for you.
I got something for you. I said, and I feel like if I don't give you this business, I'm not doing what I'm called to do.
There you go.
And so I offered her austinoutdoorliving.com. There's a plug for Noelle right there. But
there you go.
If you go to austinoutdoorliving.com, you'll see that this business is thriving. And they took it, and I went and took the position at the church.
There you go.
And it started also as a guest services director, but quickly, as the Tuscaloosa tornadoes hit shortly after, we started gathering people, getting resources, and we took a team up to Alabama and just served together.
Yeah.
For the very first time, it was like, let's just go.
Yeah.
And we took off, and that just greased the wheels of what was already happening. And when we came back from that trip, we spent about a week and a half up there serving with Church of the Highlands, which is a really big church up. They actually created a serve app that I'm going to tell you about, how people can get connected here, that we use in Austin now.
Cool.
And anyway, we went and served, came back, and all of a sudden I found myself in the position of an outreach director and then pastor, outreach pastor for Celebration Church. And I did that for 9 years.
Wow.
And in last year, 2019, I just really felt something was churning, something was different. And I was asked by Daniel Geraci, who is the director of Austin Disaster Relief Network, if I would be willing to come in and be a part of their team. And it was the perfect timing, and I accepted that position. So now I am a Austin Firefighter, but I'm also a church development manager for Austin Disaster Relief Network, where I work with churches all the time.
Well, for basically the last 12 minutes, you've done an excellent job of summarizing the last effectively 15 to 20 years of your life. And you weren't born into this. This wasn't something that you were just given. Well, maybe technically you kind of were born into it because you were a firefighter first. But as you put it beautifully when you said that it was just something that just kind of grew organically, that you were, it wasn't something where you were concerned about notoriety or how do we get the word out or how do we do this or that or worried about the actual structure. It was just like, we'll worry about that later. Let's just get in and do something now that we have the ability and the power to do. I got some tools in the garage. I'm going to go grab those. Got some shovels. Here, you don't have anything in your hands. Here's a shovel. Start digging. And it's one of those things where some of the best movements come out of are born out of necessity and neighbor helping neighbor and people getting involved. So this is one of those things where if you're looking around, and it's especially applicable today, that if you're somebody that's looking around like, I want to get engaged, I'm tired of being quarantined. I know that there are opportunities, there are people hurting out there. But I'm waiting for someone to tell me what to do. Don't take that mindset. Step out and be bold and just do it and look for opportunities that you can engage and get plugged in. It has now grown to a point, like, because of your heart, because of the desire that you have to serve, basically, and not that you're doing this to make a name for yourself, but your name to me is basically synonymous with a servant's heart, and basically with somebody who wants to engage in finding new and creative ways to spread a message of hope and to meet the needs of people in the community. Like you're not looking to start another Salvation Army or Red Cross or any of those larger, well-known organizations that have media campaigns. You just want to make an impact here locally. And that's exactly what so many people are out there doing. You may not hear their stories because they don't have a camera on them 24/7. You might not ever hear their names, but they are the people that are in our communities that are looking for ways to engage in that community and to find ways to help people. And social media, back when this kind of started for you, social media existed, but not in the forms that it does today, not with as much reach and as much power as it does today. So that's a huge benefit. So let's talk about Austin Disaster Relief Network and kind of your activities with them. What are some of the things that ADRN is heavily involved in right now, given the whole COVID-19 coronavirus quarantine, all that, the situation that we're in now? What are some of the things that they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Daniel Geraci, who's our director, he's incredibly involved with the city. And, from the beginning, he just kind of wrote out a plan on a napkin and said, wow, this is from God. I know that this is something that our city needs. And it broke down. It's really unique to me because I think about how our emergency services are even developed, how there's an incident management type structure. So if you're familiar at all with with the military, fire, police, EMS, they all fall underneath a national incident management structure. Okay, so ADRN does the same. Some of the things that we talk about as our goals through the local church and partners that are part of Austin Disaster Relief Network are number one, to demonstrate and declare the love of Christ through the local church. So our function is and our mission statement is to equip and empower a network of churches to respond to the physical, emotional, and spiritual needs in times of disaster.
Right.
And so if you think about that statement, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we equip churches, equip individuals. And so even during COVID-19, we have a prayer line. And that prayer hotline is developed so that people can call in and just have an ear to listen to them. There's a lot of needs in our community.
Yes.
That number is, I'll just throw it in there, 512-527-7100. And you can find all the information for that on adrn.org.
Right.
Okay, so that's the website to go to for everything. But through that prayer hotline, it's a cloud-based system. So the cool thing is that when somebody calls in, they may have the opportunity to pray with somebody right there in their community. And so ADRN trains, and through this training platform, and it's all online right now, people will go in from each community through churches, and they're the ones that answer the phone. And so they're able to just hear the needs and then think about, hey, in our community, how can I point this person, towards a resource? Maybe it's a financial resource. We have a system set up for that as well to help them meet that need in their community, and ultimately that they would be able to invite them to their local church or point them to a local church in their area based on the information that is gathered, because we know everybody's different and there's a lot of different flavors of churches, right? So you may be Catholic, you may be Baptist, you may be non-denominational, and that's some of the stuff that the call takers are taking into consideration. Like, how can we point this person to the right place so they can connect to a church body, which is going to be the sustainability for them in the future. I mean, we both know that from our life at Celebration Church.
Of course.
Like, my family would not be the same without our church.
Right.
So,
agreed.
So right now we have the prayer hotline. We also, you hear about the mask. I mean, right now in Travis County, Dr. Escott has made this a mandate for the city or Travis County to wear a mask. If you step out of your house, go to the store, get in your car, you're supposed to wear a mask. And so just think about the numbers. How many do we have in the city of Austin? You probably know that through your real estate world.
Well, if you include if you include surrounding areas like Leander, Georgetown, places like that, then, I mean, you're obviously well north of 1 million. I think it's somewhere close to, I don't know the exact number. I think it's somewhere close to like 1.5 million, 1.75 million. I might be completely off on that, but
so absolutely, everybody's looking for a mask to wear right now.
Yep.
And so how cool would it be for local churches to be able to provide that?
Sure.
And the cool thing is like we started, I'm on it's called the COAD up in Williamson County. I was asked to be on a part of a lead team up there, and it's through the judge in the county and then some of the city leaders. And what we do is we develop a program to help engage community to support community. And so it's people helping people, in other words. And one of the things that has been started is it's called the Wilco Mask Brigade. And so the Wilco Mask Brigade, it has the plan of how do we do this if we're an organization? How do we do it if we're a church? How do we do it if we're an individual? And it basically gives the direction of how to make the mask. There's a great website, and it's covidrangers.com. And that's what we're using, covidrangers.com. It's a guy, he says he's just a high-tech guru, but it's some guys from Steiner Ranch, and his neighbors are both doctors. And during this thing, they said, hey, how can we help the most? And they started talking, collaborating on this thing. Before you knew it, they had COVID Rangers. And COVID Rangers is now this website that thousands and thousands are using for the pattern to build this mask, or they call it a cover, because the idea of this cover is to cover the N95 masks that are so hard to get right now for first responders, for your medical, for your doctors.
Yep.
And so what this cover does, it has 2 layers both sides, and it has a pouch on the inside, so that a doctor can go in, see a patient, have the cover over his mask, go outside, switch out the cover, put the mask back on, use the same mask over and over again. And so it's incredible.
That's clever.
And so we've taken that on in Williamson County. We're also starting to do it in Travis County. And there's hubs that are set up that individuals can drop off, and organizations that are sewing these things can drop them off. And they have we have a partnership with Reed's Cleaners. Man, these guys, I don't know if y'all use Reed's Cleaners, but I'm going to give a plug for them as well, because they stepped in. Hey, we've got 22 locations, and our goal right now is to support anything that you do. And so through Austin Disaster Relief Network, through Williamson County, we have drop-off points that once you make the mask and you want it to go to the greatest need, those masks are laundered and pressed and put in a nice little bag for the distribution. So it's an incredible process. So all that's going to be, that information's on adrn.org. So if you go there, we'll have a page for making masks.
Okay.
So that's one of the other things that we do. I get sidetracked sometimes, James. So just
it's okay.
Reel me back if I start talking too much.
I knew it was going to be a fantastic conversation where I was going to have to just like give you a little prompt and just push you on down the road, and the conversation would carry itself. So there is a lot of things that people can do. If that's what we're getting after today, I can tell you there's some things that happen. Back on March 15th, I made a meeting, and I was asked to meet with the Central Texas Food Bank. So if you're like me and you watch the news, you see commercials for the Central Texas Food Bank. They're making a huge difference. Yes.
And Derick Chubbs is their CEO. And oh my gosh, this guy and his team are doing an outstanding job of trying to maintain and keep up with what the requests are and what the need is for our Central Texas communities.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, the Central Texas Food Bank is actually more than just Austin. So every food bank that you see are supported by the efforts of this location. So they pack the boxes, they send them out on trucks. They have 22 trucks that go as far as San Saba.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to see how their process works. But I was called into a meeting on behalf of, as Austin Disaster Relief Network, to sit down and just talk about possible solutions for producing more boxes. I get to this meeting, and Commissioner Jeff Trevelyan of Precinct 1 was there. The mayor of Manor, Larry Wallace, and then a council member from Pflugerville, Rudy Mateer, were also in this meeting. It was really cool to meet these guys and just feel the need, because they're representing some communities that have some real need in this time.
Absolutely.
And so what I learned from Derick Chubbs is that the need on a monthly basis is already big. Like their customer base is about 25,000 families that they're feeding already.
Yeah.
And the boxes that they're creating are going to those families. And he's saying, guys, we're getting requests that could triple what we're doing in a month. What do? We can get the food.
Right.
We just need it packed. We need help. We need, I look at it like this from the fire department world. We need an inline pump. Because the fire is way out there and it's growing really fast. So we need to boost the efforts.
Yeah.
And so the solution has been the local church.
Yeah.
And so we've had, we started reaching out, and I know from day one, Celebration Church and then Austin Christian Fellowship were there, at that first meeting, and they're like, hey, we'll take on a location and we'll bring our team together and volunteers and we can pack these boxes for you. You just got to get them to us and bring us the stuff.
Right.
And so from those two, we developed and helped run with a model that could support and build an inline pump for the Central Texas Food Bank. So now there's 5 locations that are happening. And those locations that we have helped developed our Celebration Church, Greater Mount Zion, which is off of 183 and Tannehill Road over just in East Austin. Mm-hmm. And then we have Life Family, which mm-hmm. is Life Austin. You may know it as Life Austin. They just went to Life Family because they have expressions all over the city now and in different communities. So Life Family, that's actually Randy Phillips. Do you know, remember Phillips, Craig, and Dean?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's his church that he had planted. And the pastor out there now is a good friend of mine, Brian Larson.
Okay.
So, but anyway, side note on that. And then Austin Christian Fellowship, which is just amazing. And if you know anything about churches, these are our big churches.
Right.
You know, a lot of them. We also have Shoreline, who is trained up and ready to go. We have Life Leander ready to go. Mm-hmm. Victory City is ready to go. There's a couple others. I'm gonna step on my tongue here, but
that's okay.
But anyway, the idea is that we've equipped and empowered a network of churches to respond to the greatest need.
Yes.
And so now that need from Derick Chubbs has been fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And we're producing over 12,000 boxes every week from these locations that are putting that inline boost to the Central Texas Food Bank.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I'm so glad. Now, obviously, the Thrivenomics podcast has a wider audience than just Central Texas. So those of you who are in other parts of the country, other parts of the state, a lot of our conversation has been focused on things going on in Central Texas because that's what Derick and I know, and that's what we experience on a daily basis. But there are things like this happening all over the country and, frankly, all over the world. And they're unfortunately just not getting a lot of press, but they're out there. Yeah. If you look hard enough, if you talk to enough people, you can find ways of getting involved and supporting your local community. Like, for instance, Derick, you're now part of the Facebook group that a few of us started a couple of weeks ago called Central Texas Business Alliance, where we are trying to bring together both businesses that are doing well during this time, and because of the demand for their product or service, they're getting overwhelmed with requests, whatever it is that they happen to do. And they're an essential business. They're able to stay open right now, and they need help. They need workers. They need people to come in and support them in order to fulfill their purpose of serving their clients and the people that need their efforts. There's also businesses that are hurting, that have had to shutter their doors, that have had to lay off or furlough their employees. They're not bringing anything in. They need help. And then, of course, there's the workers who have been furloughed or laid off. They need help because they're people with families. They need to be supported. And being able to create a group like that can connect to ARDN, that can, ADRN, that can connect with people like yourself is hugely paramount in being able to find those influencers who are the kind of people like you that know how to establish relationships, that know where the resources are. And those people are out there. And so you don't have to use this time to be confined and stuck in your own place. Obviously, we're out right now, but we've taken precautions to get here. We're keeping a good distance. We haven't shook each other's hands yet, but there are things that you can do that are bigger than yourself, bigger than your situation. So if you're looking for ways to get involved, they're out there. You just need to do a little bit of digging. If you don't find, like with the Central Texas Business Alliance, I went out and I scoured Facebook groups and looking for groups that had this kind of mindset or had this kind of philosophy. I started my search in Central Texas, didn't find anything. I expanded to all of Texas, didn't find anything. I expanded across the U.S., didn't find anything. Wow. And maybe I was putting in the wrong search criteria, but I didn't find anything that was already existing that had this kind of a mentality, because I was going to take it and replicate it, and instead of inventing something from scratch. But when I found that there wasn't anything out there that I could find that met what I was looking for, I said, well, I'm just going to start it. And so got with a couple of close colleagues, and we launched this group and started disseminating it to our networks and inviting more and more people and having conversations. And now it's resulted in, now we've got some amazing things going on. I won't dive into all the details of connections that are being made as a result of this group, but it's been the response has been fantastic. And so it's really important that if you have a heart to serve, obviously if there is a legitimate reason why you need to stay sheltered, of course we all do, but there are still ways for you to get involved. There's ways that you can donate online. There's ways that you can support such and such an organization or an entity that is doing great things to either stop the spread of COVID-19 or to mitigate its impact on the lives of the people that are being impacted. And so if you just get outside, social media wise, if you just do a little bit of digging, you can find those outlets to get plugged into and to get involved with. So let's kind of bring things to a close, and as Pastor Joe likes to say, let's land this plane. What are some ways? Obviously, we've already given the website for ADRN, Austin Disaster Relief Network. Yep. It's adrn.org.
Correct.
So I've been out to that site multiple times. Tons and tons of resources on that page. It's a fantastic page. Great resource. We talked about Central Texas Food Bank.
Yep.
Okay. What are some other resources that maybe not necessarily just in Central Texas, but what are some other resources, maybe national networks that are really good to get engaged with?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, over the last 6 years, I've been part of a group from ARC, which is Association of Related Churches, but
right.
it's a big organization.
Mm-hmm.
And through that organization, we have a disaster relief roundtable that we do every year. We do it twice a year. Okay. And through that, there's been relationships built like crazy. It's amazing. And we realized that there was an app that was created by one of these large churches that makes it super easy to post a need and then meet the need. Mm-hmm. And it makes it really easy for churches, organizations to go in and be able to share an event and for people to sign up. Mm-hmm. So it's called the Serve app. So if you look it up, it's just a red box that says Serve in it. And on that Serve app, you can actually, you talked about nationally. If you have people on here that are nationally looking for things to do, if you go to Serve app and you just look up a church in your area, go try typing in their name. And it's liable to come up because there's thousands and thousands of churches using it now. Mm-hmm. Right now for the Central Texas Food Bank offsite assembly locations, if you're here locally and you want to go serve at one of those locations, Greater Mount Zion, Celebration Church, and Life Family are also on that app. All so right. You can go and see the times that they have and just say, add me to it. And it's that simple. You'll have all the details.
And they are looking for volunteers. If you are willing to get outside, I mean, obviously you want to take precautions. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, keep yourself distance and all that. But if you are up for getting out and physically volunteering for the work that they're looking to do, you don't have to be a member of that church.
That's right.
Just communicate with the leaders that are organizing it. Tell them you want to come, and they'll tell you when and where.
And we set up, that's part of, with the Central Texas Food Bank, that's part of it is that we had to set up the safety system.
Correct.
In order for it to work. So when you get there, just be ready to have your temperature taken, to wear a mask, to wash your hands like 500 times while you're there, and to social distance. So the other thing I want to say, James, is, of course, go to adrn.org for any information on there. And it just brings me to the thought of local nonprofits that are doing really good work all the time. Mm-hmm. ADRN's one of those. We're working in the background of a lot of situations. And we were going to have our big Light of Hope gala, on May 2nd. Mm-hmm. There's other organizations that are supposed to be doing that stuff right now. I know there's an organization up in Williamson County that covers Travis, Williamson, Central Texas area called Key to Free. Mm-hmm. And a good friend of mine is the director there. And Key to Free is actually a organization that fights sex trafficking. Yeah. And they're supposed to have their gala on the 18th. But they shifted gears. And right now, so the 16th through the 18th, they're going to be, they have a live auction. And there's fishing trips there. I mean, there's amazing stuff to bid on. Items to bid on. Nice. So I would encourage you, as you check out the Central Texas Business Alliance page. I started one just for fun. It's called Connected in Crisis. Mm-hmm. And there I tell the story of different things that are happening. And so you can use that as a resource. I know today we posted a video about Key to Free. That's why it's fresh in my mind. But gotcha. Key to Free is one of those organizations that has people that they're supporting day in and day out. And if they don't raise the funds that they need, to do it for the year, they're going to have to make some changes.
Yeah.
And so think about those organizations.
Yeah.
Think about those folks that are doing really good work that may be struggling more than you right now.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Well, all of the links that we've discussed, we're going to make sure to put that in the show notes for when we launch this as a podcast. When we anywhere we post this on social media, we'll also be including a lot of the links of the places that we discuss. So anybody who listens to this will be able to have access to those resources as well. But Derick, thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for your heart for serving. It's really inspirational to see how you have taken something that was just kind of a small desire of yours a long time ago, and how it has just ballooned into something that is that is having impacts not just on Central Texas but on nations. And so thank you very much for everything that you do. Appreciate you. And I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Awesome. I always say we're greater together. We're better together.
Absolutely.
However you want to hashtag it, what you're doing is helping people to be better together, or we can do it and make a bigger impact if we do it together. So
Absolutely.
That's my encouragement to everybody. Just get out there and encourage someone to get involved. I said for Key to Free, hey, just go and act like you're buying me a cup of coffee and drop them $10.
There you go.
That's all you have to do. I'm not getting out for a cup of coffee right now. So
Nope.
Go give that cup of coffee to somebody that needs it.
There you go.
All right.
Awesome stuff. Well, y'all have a wonderful afternoon. Go check out all the links that we post in the show notes. This has been a wonderful episode, and everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you on the next episode of Thrivenomics. Bye, y'all. This is Thrivenomics. The title sponsor of this show is Thrive Mortgage.
Licensed in multiple states across the U.S.,
Thrive Mortgage employs the best professionals equipped with leading technology and the most efficient process to deliver a legendary lending experience.
For more information about how we can serve you or to find a local mortgage professional in your area, please visit us at thrivemortgage.com.
Thrive Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 268552.